Hello.
Hello, hi.
Yeah, I will start for this event today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the visiting lecture today with Dr. Noorazeela Zainol Abidin as a senior lecturer from University Malaysia Perlis. And for today's session is being live streamed on the Universitas Tekom YouTube channel. And now I will read our agenda this afternoon. First, we will start class presentation delivered by Dr. Noor and continue with the Q&A session. Take a picture for documentation unless time is closing. Okay, let's begin. We will start class presentation delivered by Dr. Nur. The time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Novita. Okay, let me share my slide first. Okay, Assalamualaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here today to share with you an important topic that lies at the heart of every national progress. So it's about the role of human capital in economic development. Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so the objective of the presentation to understand the concept and the component of human capital, to explore the theoretical foundation of human capital, human development, to examine the dimension of human capital, which is we have the education, skill, health, culture, and innovation, and then analyze the relationship between human capital and economic growth, identify the challenges and disparity in human capital development. And the last part, we can discuss the policy and strategy to enhance human capital for sustainability. Okay. Mm. Okay, definition of human capital. Sorry, I can see my slide. So everyone can see my slide, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So I cannot see my slide here. I don't know what happened. Okay, so I go through the definition of human capital. So when we talk about economic growth, so we often think about physical resources, industry, or technology. But behind all of these is the most valuable asset of any country is people. Okay. Human capital is referred to the knowledge, skill, health, and value that individual bring to the economy. So it is the driver of innovation, productivity, and competitiveness. Okay, so human capital is not something you can touch like a machine, building, or money because it is intangible, but it just as a valuable. So it refers to everything people carry with themselves. Okay, so it can make them productive. So, for example, like education, expertise, skill, creativity, value, and health status. Okay. Just a company invest in machine to increase their output. Society invest in people through schooling, training, healthcare, and continuous skill development. Okay, so unlike physical capital, which differentiate quickly, but human capital can actually increase over time through lifelong learning and experience. So the economies see it as essential because it drives innovation, adaptability, and competitiveness in a global economy. Okay. So without the strong human capital, investment in technology and infrastructure may not deliver their full benefit. Okay. The second is about key component of human capital. So the first one, we have the education. So education is the primary channel for human capital formation. So it's include formal education and informal learning. So the formal education is like school, universities, training institution. For informal learnings like community learning, okay, workplace training, online learning. So the higher level of educations enable individual to acquire the knowledge, literacy, numeracy, then problem solving and critical thinking skill. So it strengthens the economy by producing a workforce capable of adapting to the new technologies and driving the innovation. Okay. So the second one is skill. Okay, so education provide the foundation, but skill makes individual employable and productive. So we have the education skill. Okay, so skill is comprised to technical skill, and then we have the vocational skill, digital skill, and soft skill. So the technical skill, specialized ability for industry such as engineering, medicine, or IT. For vocational skill, most to the hand-on expertise in trades such as mechanic, electrician, or culinary arts. And then we have the digital skill. Digital skill essential in today's economy, for example, like coding, the data analysis, and digital marketing. And the last skill is about soft skill. Soft skill more to the communication, teamwork, leadership, problem solving. Okay, so the skill determine how well worker meet labor market demand and contribute to the competitiveness. And the third component of human capital, we have the health. Okay, health is a critical but sometimes overlooked dimension of human capital. So the health, such as physical health, mental health. Okay, so the physical health to ensure the workers can perform tasks effectively without frequent absenteeism. Okay, and the mental health support focus and then creativity and decision making. So a healthy workforce reduce the healthcare costs and improve their productivity and the efficiency. For example, we can see country with strong public health system like Japan, okay, sustain longer working life and higher labor force participation. And the last component of human capital, we have the values and the attitude. Yeah, for the value and attitude, the human capital is not just about knowledge and skill, but also behavioral attributes. So the work ethic and discipline ensure reliabilities and responsibility in the workplace. Okay, so the creativity drive innovation and problem solving. Adaptability is a vital in fast-changing global economies, especially in the digital and the green economy. Okay, so we can see the example country like Singapore and South Korea invest heavily in education, health, and skill development. So the alongside factories, the discipline and the strong work ethic. So this one is the key component of the human capital. We have the education, skill, health, and the value and attitudes. So the next one is about human capital versus physical capital. So what are the difference between human capital and physical capital? So based on the definition, human capital is the knowledge, the skill, heart, and value embodied in people. But physical capital is the tangible. We can touch the capital. Okay, for example, the tangible assets such as machinery, building, and infrastructure. So human capital is the intangible, but the physical capital is tangible. We can touch. So the change or the over time for the human capital increases we use learning and investment. So when we invest in the human capital, we can increase our skill. But physical capital, we have the differentiate over time with uses. So the mobility, highly mobile, skill and knowledge can move across sector and country. But physical capital, location bound, when we being a factory, road, and infrastructure are less mobile. Okay, the role in economy for human capital drive innovation, adaptability, and productivity. Physical capital provide tools and facilities for production. Okay, need physical capital to apply knowledge and skill effectively. For physical capital, need human capital to operate, maintain, and improve the efficiency. Okay, so for example, for human capital, skilled engineer, doctors, teachers, and researcher. And the physical capital, for example, like factory, road, machine, and computer. Okay, so this is the difference between human capital and physical capital. Now we move to the theoretical foundation. Based on the Adam Smith view of human capital, so Adam Smith is often called the father of modern economics, was among the first to highlight the importance of human capital. So Adam Smith is we also call the father of modern economy because it introduced the importance of human capital. In the Wealth of Nation, 1776, He argued that the acquired ability and skill of workers should be considered part of the national wealth. Okay, so just like land, machinery, or money. So he viewed education and training as investment. So they require time resources, but generate return through higher productivity. For Smith, skilled workers are more valuable because they contribute to greater efficiency, better quality output, and overall economic prosperity. So his idea laid the foundation for modern human capital theory, the latter developed by Schultz and Becker into 20th century. Okay, even today, his view remain relevant. Economists that invest heavily in education, training, and skill development tend to achieve the faster growth and higher competitiveness. Okay, for example, a country like Singapore and South Korea embody the Adam Smith vision by treating education and skill as central to their development strategy. Now we move to the second economist was introduced about human capital is the Schultz and Becker. So in the 1960s, economists Theodore Schultz and Gary Becker expand the Adam Smith idea into a more formal theory of human capital. Schultz in 1961 highlighted that spending on education, training, and health is not just consumption, but an investment because it's improved productivity and brings long-term return. For Gary Becker, in 1964, then systematically developed human capital theory showing how individual makes rational decision to invest in themselves. Just like businesses invest in machine or technology, people will invest in education, skill, and health to increase their future earning and opportunity. So, for example, a university degree or the vocational training may require cost upfront, but it lead to higher income, better career prospect, and improved quality of life. And then we have the endogenous growth theory, introduced by Rommel and Lucas. Okay, so the endogenous growth theory developed in 1980 by Paul Rommel and Robert Lucas placed the human capital at the core of growth models. Rommel in 1986 argued that economic growth is primarily driven by knowledge and innovation and technological progress. But Lucas in 1988 expanded this by showing that human capital accumulation is critical for growth. As skilled workers not only improve their own productivity, but also generate positive spillover that benefit others. Okay, so Lucas, a key feature of this theory is about learning by doing. So the idea that as individual and society engage in productive activity, they accumulate knowledge that enhance future productivity. Then the human development theory introduced by the Amartya Sen in 1990s shift the focus of development away from a purely economic measure like GDP, gross domestic product. Okay, Sen argue that true development means expanding people capability. So the ability to lifelong, healthy life access education, and exercise freedom of choice. So unlike traditional growth theory, this approach sees human development as both a means helping economic growth and improving quality of life. Okay, so the building of the SANS idea, the United National Development Program or UNDP introduced the Human Development Index, or we call HDI, okay, in 1990, so which measure development using 3 dimensions. The first one, the dimension is life expectancy, more focusing on health. And then we have the education, is about knowledge. And then we measure the income, is the standard of living. So a country, for example, a country may have the high GDP, okay, or the high gross domestic product, but the low human development index, okay, HDI. So if it failed to invest in education, healthcare, and equality. So the theory emphasizes that investing in human capital is not optional, but essential for inclusive and sustainable development. Now we move to the labor market theories, okay, highlight the importance of matching human capital to job. So according to a classical theory based on the Adam Smith, okay, the wages are determined by a worker productivity. So better skill and education should lead to higher earning. So when we have the more productive better skill, we can get more earning. So the dual labor market theory explain inequality. So the labor market is split into a primary sector and the secondary sector. So for the secondary sector, based on the low paid, unstable, or low skill job. So human capital help worker move from the secondary to the primary market. So the mismatch theory address situation where worker skill don't match employer needs, such as the university graduate working in job unrelated to their field, or shortage of technical and vocational worker. Okay. So this mismatch often leads to underemployment and then lower productivity and waste potential. Okay. So now we move to the dimension of human capital. Okay. So education as investment in human capital. So education is widely recognized as one of the most important form of investment in human capital. So just like firm invest in machinery, individual and society invest in education to enhance productivity and future earning. So at the individual level, education raises the knowledge, skill, employability, which translate into the higher level or higher wages and more stable job. At the society level, education generate the spillover benefit, okay, and the return on education are both private and social. Okay, so this is why the government often provide the subsidy, free education or scholarship to ensure exclusivity and maximize the collective benefit of an educated population. Okay, so for example, we can see Countries like Singapore, Finland, and South Korea have demonstrated how strong investment in education can rapidly transform economies from low income to a high income status. So now we move to the vocational and technical training. So vocational and technical training is a crucial component of human capital development because it's equip individual with hands-on and job-ready skill. So unlike academic education, this training focuses on practical competency required in sectors like manufacturing, construction, ICT, and healthcare. So it helps bridge the gap between education and the labor market, ensuring graduates can directly meet industry demand. So such training also support industrialization and economic diversification by providing the workforce needed for the new and emerging sector. So if we can see in today, the context of industry 4.0 and the digital economy, so the vocational training is the vital for preparing workers in areas such as robotic, artificial intelligence or AI, and the green technologies. Okay, for example, a country like Germany, dual education system, have a dual education system where the combining classroom learning with the apprenticeship. Okay, so have been highly successful in reducing young unemployment and producing the skilled worker for its industry. Okay. So human capital development doesn't stop with formal education. So it's required the continuous skill development and lifelong learning. So in today, rapidly changing world, so the worker must constantly acquire new technical skill. Okay, so every worker need the new technical skill, digital literacy, and soft skills such as the communication, and then teamwork and problem solving. So this process will help the individual remain adaptable as industry evolve and new job opportunity emerge. So the lifelong learning also promote the career mobility, allowing the individual to switch industry or take on the leadership role. At the national level, we can see the continuous learning is essential for competitiveness in the knowledge economy, where innovation and creativity drive growth. Okay. Now we move to the health. So health is the core component of human capital because it's directly influence the productivity and economic performance. Okay? So the workers in good health can work more effectively and for longer hours, increasing their efficiency and output. When we have the good health, so we can perform more and can increase their productivity. So the better health also reduce the absenteeism due to illness and the lower health care related to the cost for both employer and governments. So the healthy individual enjoy the longer working life, which means they contribute more to the economy over time. Okay. So the public investment in healthcare, like sanitation and nutrition, therefore generate the economic return by improving the productivity of the labor force. Okay, for example, improvement in life expectancy and public health in East Asian countries were key factors supporting their rapid industrialization and growth. Okay. Then we move to the social and cultural capital. Human capital is not only about skill and education, but also about social and cultural factors that influence how people interact and contribute to the development. So the social capital refer to the network, trust, social relationship, and enable cooperation. So when people trust each other and work well in teams, so the organization and economy become more efficient. Okay. So the second one is about the cultural capital. So cultural capital refer to the value, norms, traditions, and attitude that shape behavior. For example, a strong work ethic, discipline, and openness to innovation are cultural traits and support the productivity. Then together, social and cultural capital reinforce human capital by encouraging knowledge sharing, collaboration, and collective problem solving. So this form of capital also strengthen the institution and governance, since society with high trust level are more likely to have effective government and lower corruption. Okay, for example, we can see in Japan, the teamwork and group-oriented cultural value has supported industry success. In contrast, the society with trust often struggle with the inefficiency and conflicts. Okay, that's why we need the good environment or culture. Then we move to the innovation. So in the modern era, so economic success is increasingly based on the knowledge, innovation, and creativity, not just natural resources or physical capital. So the human capital is the driving force behind the innovation. So the research and development or R&D cannot happen without skilled scientists or engineer and creative entrepreneur. So the knowledge economy is an economy where growth depends on the ability to generate and apply new ideas, technologies, and process. So investment in STEM education, STEM stand for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as well as digital skill like coding, artificial intelligence, AI, and the data analytics is crucial to staying competitive and in globally. So the universities, research institute, and industry play a key role in building the strong education, research, industry linkages, okay, to ensure innovation leads to the real world application. So in short, economies that invest in human capital for innovation and R&D are better equipped to thrive in the knowledge economy and sustain long-term growth. So the human capital strengthen the institution, okay? So institution is law, governance, system, public agency are essential for economic stability. So a society with higher level of education and awareness develops stronger institution as citizens understand their right and responsibility. So the human capital therefore enhance both the quality and credibility of the citizen. Okay, the second one, educated citizen and demand accountability and transparency. Okay, so the education increases political awareness and civic participation. Okay, citizens with higher knowledge and skill are more likely to hold the governments accountable, resist corruption, and demand transparent policy. And then we have the skilled workforce to support efficient public administration. So human capital is also the critical within government itself. So critical or a skilled civil service ensure the effective policy formulation, regulation, and service delivery. Okay. The strong institution attract investment and innovation. Stable, transparent, and reliable institutions are attractive to both domestic and foreign investors. So the human capital contribute to this stability by creating professionals who can uphold the rule of law and then enforce the contract and protect the intellectual property. Okay. Human capital plus institutions can get the sustainable development. So the interaction between human capital and institution create a virtuous circle. So when we have the strong human capital, we can get the strong institution, and the strong institution can give the effective use of human capital. Okay. So now we move to the human capital and economic growth. So productivity growth largely depend on the quality of human capital. When workers are educated, trained, and healthy, so they perform tasks more effectively and with greater adaptability. So that's why country with strong investment in education and health, such as Finland and South Korea, often record higher productivity level. Okay, so the education and training play a central role here. So the formal education provide the foundation of knowledge and analytical thinking, while vocational and on-the-job training supply the technical skill required by the industry. Okay, for example, Singapore continuous recycling the program to ensure that workers remain relevant and perform at their best. And then a healthy workforce means there were 6 days, less absenteeism, and more energy at work. Okay, then come innovation and technology adoption. So the advanced systems such as automation, AI, and biotechnology can only be fully utilized by skilled workers. Okay, without the right human capital, so these investments are underused. So the Germany is a good example. Is a good example. We can see that workforce has enabled it to lead in Industry 4.0 technologies. Now, the link between education and GDP growth, okay, as we know that education has a direct and powerful impact on the gross domestic product, okay, because it's enhance the quality of human capital. So an educated workforce is more skilled, efficient, and capable of handling complex tasks, which translate into the higher productivity. So the study consistently show that country with higher education attainment achieve stronger and more sustainable economic growth. For instance, the improvement in literacy rates and the average year of schooling are strongly correlated with the GDP growth. Okay, so the education also promote the innovation and entrepreneurship. So the skilled individual are more likely to generate the new ideas and then start business and adopt the new technology. So all of which contribute to the national competitiveness. So we can see there is a country like South Korea and Singapore which transform the economy through a heavy investment in education, especially in science and technology field. So the investment have supported their long-term GDP growth and the global competitiveness. Okay. So the case study for the South Korea and Singapore, we can see, okay, the East Asian Merkle is often used to describe the rapid economic growth of country like South Korea and Singapore. And a big part of the story is the investment in human capital. Okay, so for the South Korea, heavy investment in universal education since 1960, and then strong focus on the STEM and vocational training. And then over time, this human capital investment produced the world-class company like Samsung, Hyundai. Okay, so the South Korea is now a global leader in technology and innovation. Okay. So the second example, like Singapore, okay, education system aligned with the labor market leaders. Okay, emphasize on English, science and technical skill. Later, it introduced the lifelong learning initiative, so worker could continually reskill. Okay, so this adaptability allowed Singapore to move from being a low-income trading port to one of the world's top financial and technology. So the role of health in sustaining the growth, we have the health populations. So worker with good physical and mental health, more energetic, focused, and efficient. So healthy individuals are less likely to suffer from fatigue or illness that disrupt daily work routine. Okay, and then reduce the absenteeism and healthcare costs. So the poorer health leads to more sick leave. So the workplace accident and lower output. So this also increase the financial burden on employers and government through healthcare spending. Okay. And that increases the life expectancy and the labor participation. So the longer life expectancy means people can work productively for more years, Okay, so healthy population delay retirement, keeping experienced workers in the economy. So the greater participation by healthy women, young and older workers strengthen the labor market. Okay. Then we have the good health, improve the learning uh, capacity. Okay. And then public health investment, like building hospital, training doctors, and funding preventive health program, economic investment, not just social policy. So now you move to the ICT, information and communication technology in economic transformation. So ICT and digital skill are now at the heart of economic transformation. So ICT serve as a driver of innovation and competitiveness, enabling the country and firms to adapt to rapidly changing the market. So the digital skill are especially critical. They allow a worker to operate and maintain the new technologies, okay, from automation and AI to the data analytics and the smart industry. So without the digital literacy, investment in this technology will not deliver their full benefit. So ICT also expand the opportunity through the e-commerce and digital finance. So the small and medium enterprise, for instance, can reach the global customer, access the funding more easily, and participate in the digital economy. Okay. So at the firm level, ICT adoption raise the efficiency and productivity. Okay. So the digital tool reduce transaction costs, streamline the supply chain, and improve the communication and decision making. Okay, for example, many companies use a big data and cloud computing to manage resources more effectively. Okay. Now you want to see human capital mobility creates the two contrasting outcome, which is brain drain versus brain gain. So what are the difference between brain drain and brain gain? So the definition for the brain drain is the immigration of skilled worker to other country. When we have the skill, you can move from the one country to another country. So based on your skill. For brain gain is the inflow or return of skilled worker and expertise. Okay, so for the brain drain, loss of talent, when one worker move to the another country, we can loss of talent, okay, or skilled worker, and weaken innovation and productivity. For brain gain, knowledge transfer, boost the innovation and competitiveness. Okay, so for brain drain, developing economy with limited opportunity, while the brain gain, country attracting or retaining the talent. For example, for brain drain is the doctors leaving the Africa for the Europe or US. Okay, get more better job. And then brain gain is the return of IT professional to Indians and China. Okay, so the policy rule for the brain drain is the causes shortage of skill. When we have the skilled worker move to the another country, they offer the more or better. Okay, for brain gain, strengthen the domestic capacity through the diaspora engagement. So the human capital in developing and developed economies, okay, for the comparison between the education in developing economies. Okay. Education is the limited access, lower quality, and high dropout rates. But for developed economies, okay, universal access, high quality, and a strong higher education. For skill, in terms of skill, developing economy often suffer from a mismatch. Worker may not have the skill that industry need, and many rely on low skill or informal work. Meanwhile, the developed economies have highly skilled workforce with strong vocational, technical, and digital competency. Okay, looking at how developing country face weaker healthcare system and the lower life expectancy. For developed economy, strong healthcare system uh, contribute to the healthier and longer living population, which also mean more productive workforce. Innovation capacity in another big gap. So developing economy often lack resources for research and development. So their technologies adoption is lower. Okay, compared to the developed countries, invest heavily in R&D and leads in technological advancement. Okay, finally is the labor market. So in the developing country, the informal sector is dominant, which underemployment being a major issue compared to the developed economy have a formalized labor market and then higher productivity and economy driven by knowledge and innovation. Now we move to the importance of human capital. Okay, human capital play a central role in driving economic development. Okay, first, it enhances the labor productivity. So, workers with better education, skill, and health can produce more output with the same resources. Okay, for a second, human capital fuel the innovation. Skill and knowledgeable individual generate the new ideas, adapt technology faster, and adapt to changing market. Third, investment in people improve the income level. So we hire wages so individual can enjoy better living standard, which also reduce the poverty. Okay, and fourth, the strong human capital support the social mobility. Okay, education and training help people from disadvantaged background move outward in society. And then human capital is essential for global competitiveness. Country with skill and healthy workforce can compete in high value industry such as IT, biotechnology, and advanced manufacturing. Okay. Finally, it's laid the foundation for sustainable economic growth. Unlike natural resources that can be deleted, human capital can continue to grow and adapt over time. So now we move to the challenges in human capital. development. So inequality in access to education. Okay, inequality in access to education remains a major challenge for many countries, even as overall enrollment rates rise. Okay, one key factors is income inequality. So the children from a low-income family often have limited access to quality education due to cost of schooling, transportation, and learning material. Okay, then we have the geography. Rural area frequently face the shortage of qualified teachers, poor infrastructure, and fewer educational resources compared to the urban center. And then the gender inequality is another concern. Okay, in some region, culture norms or economy pressure restrict girl access to education. So the limiting their future employment opportunity and empowerment. So the socio-economic inequality creates a cycle, means that the lower education access the reduced skill and productivity, which then perpetuate the poverty and the low social mobility. So the gender gap in human capital formation refer to the difference between men and women in acquiring education, skill, and work experience. Okay. So the first one is unequal access to education and training. So we can see in many countries, girls and women have fewer opportunity for schooling or vocational training, especially at secondary and tertiary level. Okay. The second one, limited labor market participation. So women often participate less in formal employment due to the social norms, household responsibility, or discrimination. Okay, from the gaps in STEM and technical skill, women are underrepresented in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field, which limit their contribution to high skill, knowledge intensive sector. Then we have the cultural, social, and economic barrier. So the early marriage, childcare responsibility, and the bias societal expectation restricts for the woman ability to acquire skill and build their human capital. So the closing gap leads to growth, ensuring the equal access and opportunity for women to enhance their productivity and then promote the innovation and support the inclusive economic development. So this one we can see the rural versus urban disparities. Okay, rural urban disparities are major factors in human capital development. The first one, because the education access. Okay, we can see the rural areas often have fewer school, poorly trained teacher, and limited resources. So this reduces both the quantity and quality of education available to children. Healthcare access, okay, health facility, medical staff, and services are concentrated in urban areas, leaving rural population more vulnerable to illness, which affect productivity and school attendance. Okay, then we have the skill development. So the vocational and technical training center are usually located in city, limiting the rural youth opportunity to acquire practical skill needed for the labor market. And the last one is the labor market opportunity. Okay, the high paying job, especially in the knowledge economy, are mostly urban based. So the rural residents may face under employment or be forced to migrate to the city. Okay. So now we move to the unemployment and skill mismatch are the key challenges in human capital development. So the first one, unemployment, okay, refer to individual who are actively seeking work but cannot find the job. So even when job exists, worker may not have the right skill to fill them. The second is the skill mismatch, okay, occur when the skill of the workforce do not match the needs of employees or employers. So this can result from outdated curriculum, insufficient vocational training, or rapid technological changes that create the new skill requirement. Okay. What are the causes and the consequences? Okay, so the rapid technological change, inadequate training program, and the poor alignment between education and labor market demands all contribute to the mismatch. Okay, so skill mismatch and unemployment leads to underutilized human capital, lower productivity, and slower economic growth. So economy will fail to fully leverage their workforce potential. Okay, so the government and institution can address these challenges through vocational training and then reskilling the initiative and promoting lifelong learning to align skill development with industry needs to ensure that human capital is effectively used to drive the economic growth. Now, migration and talent retention. So migration and talent retention are critical issues in human capital management. Okay, so the migration of skilled worker occur when professionals leave their home country seeking the better pay. Okay, so the working condition or career opportunity abroad. So this can result in brain drain, where the home country lose the available skill and reducing domestic innovation and productivity. However, migration can also create brain circulation or brain gain. So the skilled worker may return with new knowledge, international experience, and professional networks. Okay, to retain the talent, country implement the strategy such as offering competitive salary, clear career development path, research opportunity, and other incentive. So the policymaker must strike a balance between allowing mobility, which benefit individual and global knowledge exchange, and building domestic capacity to ensure that migration does not deplete the country human capital. Financial human capital is essential for building a productive and skilled workforce. Okay. We have the government invest in education, healthcare, vocational training, and research to create a strong foundation for human capital. So this ensure equitable access and long-term societal benefits. And then private financing. So household will contribute to education spending, and businesses invest in employing training. So the private investment will have aligned skill with labor market demand. Okay? And then international support from the Development Bank, United Nations Agency, and others organizations provide the financial aids, grants, and technical assistance to support education, healthcare, and skill development. Okay. Then well-financed human capital leads to higher productivity, better wages, and overall economic growth. So for the government and institutions should ensure efficient allocation of resources and then sustainable funding and encourage public-private partnership to maximize their impact. So now we move to the human capital and the policy. So the government plays a central role in shaping human capital through education and health policy. So, government design national strategy and framework for education and health that align with long-term economic and social goals. The second is the government finance school, university, hospital, clinic, and vocational training program, adequate the investment to ensure that essential services reach all segments of the population. Then setting and monitoring standard for curriculum, teacher training, and healthcare service to ensure that education and health intervention are effective and consistent across region. The next is the government addresses disparities caused by income, gender, or geographic location. So the program such as scholarship, school feeding, rural health care, and mobile clinic help reduce the inequality. And the last one is government encourage to continuous skill development, elder education, vaccination program, and preventive health measures to ensure a healthy and adaptable workforce. Okay. Social protection plays a crucial role in human capital development and the accumulation of human capital. Okay, so social protection program provide access to essential service such as healthcare, nutrition, education, and stable income. So this create a secure environment for individual to invest in their skill and productivity. Okay. By protecting the household from shocks such as illness, unemployment, or economic crisis, the social protection enable people to pursue the education and training rather than dropping out to meet the immediate needs. Okay. For example, include cash transfer program, unemployment benefits, food or healthcare subsidies, and social insurance scheme. So this program directly support the human capital development by providing the resources and security needed for skill. Okay. Social protection allow individual to engage in a continuous learning, vocational training, and upskilling with enhance the employability and productivity. Okay, so by reducing inequality and enabling inclusive development, so the social protection ensure that the benefit of human capital investment are widely shared across the society. So now we move to the public-private partnership in skill training. Okay. So the collaboration between the government, private sector, and educational institution. Okay. So the PPPs bring together. Okay. This one bring together government, private companies, and educational institutions to jointly develop and deliver training program that meet labor market needs. So by engage this private sector, training program are aligned with industry requirement, reducing the mismatch between worker skill and job opportunity. So for example, internship, vocational courses, and industry lead training program give the student and workers practical experience and exposures to the real world work environment. Okay, so the government may provide the funding and policy support. Private companies supply equipment, mentorships, and job placement, while educational institutions offer the curriculum development and teaching. So the benefit, the PPPs or the public-private partnership enhance the employability, encourage the innovation, and contribute to the economic growth by creating a workforce with the skill that the economy actually needs. Okay, now TVETs or technical and vocational education and training is a key component of human capital development, focusing on practical skill and hands-on training for specific occupation and industry. Okay, so TVET equip learners, okay, with the skill that employer require, reducing the skill mismatch and improving the employability. So the graduate from the TVET program are often ready to enter the workforce directly or start their own businesses, to contributing to the both job creation and the economic growth. Okay, so the TVET include technical school, vocational college, and partnership with industry to provide the real world experience and training. So the skilled worker trained through TVET improve their efficiency and productivity in their respective sector, supporting the competitiveness at both firm and national level. So the TVET promote economic inclusion, reduce unemployment, and provide skill needed for emerging industry such as renewable energy and the digital technology. Okay. So, sustainable development goal or SDG and human capital. So, human capital is closely linked to the United National Sustainable Development Goal or SDG as developing a skilled, healthy, and educated population is the critical for the SDG. Okay. So SDG 3 is about good health and well-being. So the healthy individual are more productive, reducing the absenteeism and healthcare costs, and enabling active participation in the workforce. Then we have the SDG 4 is about quality education. So investment in education and skill training ensure that all individuals have access to the learning opportunity, which enhance the knowledge, employability, and innovation. Then SDG 5 is about the gender equality, promoting equal access to education and skill for women and men to ensure that the full potential of human capital is realized, supporting inclusive growth. And the last SDG 8 is decent work and economic growth. A skilled and healthy workforce drive the economic development, improve the productivities, and then strengthen the labor market. Okay. Now we move to the policy case study between the Malaysia, China, and the Europe. Okay, so the key policy for the Malaysia focuses on TVET and digital skill, aims to align workforce skill with labor market needs. For China, invest in heavily, can see in education reform, R&D investment, and STEM to building a highly skilled, innovative workforce. Okay. For Europe, promote lifelong learning program, mobility, and social protection to ensure adaptability, inclusive, and continuous skill development. So the human capital in the digital economy. So human capital play a vital role in the digital economy where the technology and innovation drive growth. Okay, so digital skill critical for competitiveness in AI, big data, and ICT sector. Continuous learning and upskilling to keep pace with technological trends. Okay. A remote work and digital platform require adaptable, self-directed worker. Investment in STEM, coding, and digital literacy essential. And the last one is human capital drive innovation, productivity, and economic growth in digital era. So human capital in the age of AI and automation. Okay. So in the age of AI and automation, so human capital is both challenged and more critical than ever because the first one, AI, automation in AI are changing the type of job available, often reducing the demand for routine tasks while increasing demand for the higher order cognitive skill. And then worker needs digital literacy, critical thinking, solving, and adaptability to remain relevant in automate environment. Okay. So continuous learning is the key. Skilling program help to displace worker adapt, while upskilling ensure the existing employee keep pace with evolved technology. So despite technological advance, human contribute unique qualities such as creativity, innovation, ethical judgment, and interpersonal skill that machine cannot replicate. So the strategic human capital development, so the country and organization that invest in developing this skill ensure a competitive, resilient, and future-ready workforce ready to thrive alongside AI and automation technology. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation.
Yeah, we have some question, ma'am, from participant already write in the Zoom chat.
Yes. Okay. Okay, the first question is from Kinan. In the age of AI and automation, will human capital remain the central driver of economic development, or will its role be redefined? Okay, in my opinion, in the age of AI and automation, human capital remains central but in a redefined form. So because its value will shift from a routine skill which machine can replicate to higher order capability such as creativity, critical thinking, adaptability, and ethical judgment. Okay, and the ability to work with and direct intelligence system. So economic development will depends less on the quantity of labor and more on the quality and adaptability of human capital. For the second questions from Paulina, Is inequality in access to quality education the biggest barrier to maximizing human capital potential in developing nations? So yes, the answer, inequality is in access to quality education is the biggest barrier as it limit skill development and entrance poverty and within inequality. So, however, its impact is compounded by other factors like poor health, weak institution, and limited job opportunity, making a holistic approach essential. The last question from Abdul, how can society balance investment in elite talent, for example, researcher, innovators, improved education for the general population? How can a society balance investment? Okay. In my opinion, okay, society can balance both by prioritizing universal quality education as the foundation while making target investment in elite talents. Okay, so to ensuring the equitable access, fostering spillover from top research to society, and using public-private partnership or PPP to prevent a two-speed system where innovation benefit only a few. I think that's all. Novita?
Okay, thank you. I guess no one else has given again, ma'am. Yeah, before I close this event, for all participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three for documentation. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you for your keen cooperation. Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to thank you for Dr. Noorazeela for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all participants. At least we hope to have collaboration in the future. The visiting lecture for today and here with the season. Thank you and have a nice day, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Bye bye.